Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the VRD semifinals for our match, the Hornets versus the Stallions. Stallions on red side, or Stallions on blue side, my bad. Hornets on red side, and we are headed right into the draft. We see an Anivia band come out right away from the Stallions, and I am here with my partner, Hyper. How are you doing today, bud?
I'm doing great, really good. Wow, I can't even talk today. That's how great I am doing. I'm sorry, it was like on my headphone cord, but I'm doing great. Really excited for the semifinals game. I was looking into both of these teams because I am sorry for all you VRD fans. I am just filling in for tonight, but I am glad to be filling in for tonight. And I do got to say one thing in particular. Stallions is packing a lot of heat. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
Uh,
for sure. The Stallions are looking they're a very strong team going into this match, right? You see 16 or 15 and 6 record for the normal season compared to the Hornets 9 and 12. These teams have obviously faced off against each other 3 times prior to this match. Hornets did win the first match in a very close game, but Stallions have won the most recent 2. So it is going to be interesting to see how the match tonight plays out differently.
But even though Hornets are going to be playing on the back foot, because let's face it, they barely get into playoff, the playoff bracket. They're the last seed, and then they come out and they beat. Um, oh
The
wow,
Wizards, I
I
believe.
literally just had it up and I
The
clicked off the
Wizards. I
screen. I
believe they beat the Wizards in the
Phantom.
last
They
match.
beat the
Phantoms, yeah,
Phantoms. They beat C3 2-1. Okay, not a sweep the same way the Spartans did, but nonetheless. Now they're going to be playing the first seed of the league. And I don't know about you, but I'm nervous for them.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Stallions, all I will say, huge props to their jungler. Itaconic, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but that is how I will be saying it. Itaconic has done a very, very good job this season. You know, second in KDA, first in the kills per game, and typically very, very low deaths. It is they have a stacked top side, right? Also, top slap by Crab, very good damage, very solid laning phase, and it is going to be kind of scary to see how the jungler over for the side of Hornets are going to respond for this, right? And even if you look at rank, solo queue obviously does not mean anything, but you do have a higher rank spread over to the side of Stallions as you have from Hornets. But we will see if Hornets have looked over their previous games with Stallions and can make some adjustments to win these games.
I mean, we brought up the jungle. I'm not going to try to say your name, but I'm going to try it here. I'm just going to call him iconic because, I mean, with stats like that, you become pretty iconic in your league. Stallions team has the first and second on the global stats for the league of kills per game. First hit by the jungler and second by the ADC. So you got to take into consideration. Let's say we do shut down this jungler. Are we even going to be able to air quote stop the team from snowballing? Because you look over at the ADC and he is pumping out kills left and right. And the sad part is, if you do shut down Iconic, you don't shut down Iconic because this man just doesn't die. He averages 2.7 deaths a game. That's insane for a jungler at that. And you look at the champions he plays, and this guy doesn't play, passive junglers like an Ivern. No, he plays in your face. See you in Valhalla.
With
Witness me.
Syndra.
Witness me if you would. He dives in. He plays the Zac. Really good on the Zac. He plays the Udyr. He plays the Viego. These are chaps that want to be in your face 99% of the time. And then
Yeah,
he just doesn't die.
Yeah, for sure. But let's get into draft a little bit. Obviously, you mentioned this Viego and getting in their face. The Viego and the Vi both banned off the table for the side of Stallions, picking the Syndra first pick mid. I wonder if we're going to see another control mage in response to that. Oh, it looks like we're going to go with the Milio. I'm interested to see if we're going to see maybe a Jinx here with the Milio. I know that's kind of the classic duo pairing that has been really strong in this meta so far. We could also see an Aphelios, but I do think Jinx would be the best option here. You are leaving it open for Stallions to pick their ADC and support in response without getting that mid counter pick right away, though. So we will see what Hornets do right on this pick.
Oh, holding my breath. Honestly, I
Ezreal.
love how we were talking about this champ earlier. I like Ezreal in this meta. I'm not gonna lie. Granted, I've missed 9 patches, but playing Ezreal, patch 3.9 and 3.8 or 13.9 and 13.8. I'm dyslexic. I can't. Oh, but they pick up the Udyr. I don't even want to talk about Israel. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, for sure. It is nice to see it iconic over on the side of Stallions to get one of those picks that they are relatively comfortable on, right? I
I
would
mean, just
expect Stallions to pick up either an ADC or a support here to round off the counter pick a little bit from Milio Ezreal. I do think Milio Ezreal's a little bit strange, not typically a very good bot lane pairing because Ezreal doesn't make very good use from the range boost, but we do see the Kog'Maw locked in over on the side of Stallions.
I think Kagba is actually a really good choice here. He doesn't necessarily counter the Ezreal, but he definitely does outperform Ezreal in the late game. And when you have Udyr and you have Syndra right in front of you, with so much lockdown just from those two alone, Kog'Maw can just kind of sit back in that mid game, mid range, and just lob cannonballs all day long. And it's going to be really hard to get to him because you have Scatter of the Weak, you have Udyr stun, you have annoying Kog'Maw slow, and even Renekton diving back there isn't going to be able to get there with a full health bar and do something relevant.
Yeah, for sure. It is going to come down to picking off this Kongma in the late game. One thing I will say for Stallions is I would like to see an earlier game support or an earlier game top laner to kind of get that Syndra, get that Kog'Maw to late game where they're going to be unstoppable because they don't really have a ton of early game power right now compared to the Ezreal and the Renekton over on the side of Hornets. And as you know, getting to that late game and getting through that tough early game is almost as important as having that strong late game team. We are going into the second round of bans. We see Lulu banned off the table from Kog'Maw. Very good
That's
ban,
actually a
obviously.
really great ban.
Yeah, Lulu at Kog'Maw, very classic pairing, very good ban. I wonder if we're going to see a second support here come out from Hornets, and we do. We see the Soraka ban, a little bit of an interesting choice, but I do know that Wanderer over on the side of Stallion plays a lot of Soraka, so it does make a little bit of sense, and I expect to see maybe another mid lane or jungle ban from the side of Stallions. Not sure where they sit on that at this point, but they might want to ban. Yep, and
There
there's
goes the
another jungler
J4.
from J4.
I mean, speaking of, we were talking about Wander. Wander himself on the side of Stallions is first in the league in assists per game. So as a support, if you were topping the charts in assists, it's really hard to get you off of a support that makes you feel uncomfortable because there's just so many good supports nowadays.
Yeah,
And
right. There's a lot of enchanters, right? If
there
Lulu's gone,
really
you have
is.
Soraka, and then you have Nami, and then Milio. Yeah, just a ton of options.
I mean, even the Karma Kog'Maw lane, not a really strong duo, but it's still an annoying duo at bet. Like Karma gives Kog'Maw and the team, but Kog'Maw specifically in the early game, enough protection and just enough distance so that he can free farm, and Ezreal and Milo just don't, you know, poke and be annoying the way they are going to be.
Yeah, for sure. Echo is going to be locked in a little bit more assassination, right? It looks like they kind of want to get this Renekton, get this Echo onto the backline with Kog'Maw, and we do see
See
Karma
the
locked in,
Karma, there it
like
is.
you were talking about. Another one of those basic enchanters, right? Going to just spam Mantra Shield throughout the late game, but also a very, very good early game support, right? Starting with that ultimate level 1 is very, very, very good because you're starting with another ultimate ability that no one else gets until level 6, and that is going to put pressure on the Hornets bot lane to kind of get ahead super early, and Alawi is locked in
Wowie
for the
wah.
top lane for Stallions to round out the comp.
So it looks like Stallions are really going heavy in this game one, focusing on that lower half of the map. You put Alawi up in that top lane, and she kind of just sits back, and she doesn't need a gank because she's got her tentacles to just lane gank all day. Um, and really good Alawi players, no matter if you do gank her, it doesn't really turn out that well. Because I've seen some pretty dirty Alawi players. They position themselves like almost as baiting themselves in the lane, and then they just throw the E, grab the, I guess, the soul, if you would, and then boom, three extra tentacles with an ult, and it's disgusting.
Yeah, for sure. And now seeing these drafts finish out, I do like the Ari pick over from the side of Hornets. Ari has been played a lot in MSI this patch, very strong mid laner. But overall, I think I'm going to give the better comp over to Stallions just for having that really solid front line in Alawi and Udyr and having that really safe hyper scaling late game from the side of Syndra and Kog'Maw. But what about you?
I mean, just looking at the champs themselves, Stallions do have that better, very straightforward front to back setup that they got going on. It's very clear who's got what job. It's Udyr and it's Alawi. You guys are the front. You guys are the wall. Be the wall. Don't let it break. And if somebody slips through the cracks, Syndra and Karma decide to be annoying, and they hold them in place. They are essentially the mold, and then you just have Kog'Maw fill in the gaps. And like it's very straightforward, and I love comps like that because everybody knows their role, everybody knows their job. But I do like Hornets because they see the simplicity of the execution Stallions need to do, but they also understand the problem that it is because the threat isn't really the Syndra. It's gonna be Kog'Maw. He is going to be the threat
Yeah.
because even if you shut Kog'Maw down, it doesn't matter. He's just like any other ADC. You get him 2, 3 items, he's a problem. And so we pick the Echo, we pick the Ari, we get the Renekton. You know, even Ezra himself, he can dip in and out of fights, which is why I love Ezra so much. You got these champs that are very fluid. They move the fight as they, dash and dip around, which is going to be really hard for Kog'Maw to really focus on one particular person at a time because you got so many threats just all around you at once. So I like the way Hornets did draft. I do not know if they're going to be able to pull it off. Not because I don't think they lack the skill, but only because I've not seen them play.
Yeah, for sure. The one thing you have to worry about, right? They obviously do realize that Kog'Maw is going to be the threat. They're picking these assassins. They're picking Ahri, Echo, Renekton, right? But the thing you have to think about is that going to be enough to get on top of and kill that Kog'Maw? And I think if you have that Karma playing really well, and you have that Syndra holding her E for the assassins, and you have that Alawi standing in front, it's going to be really hard to get on this Kog'Maw unless he's mispositioning. So instead of that's not to say Kog'Maw won't miss position, but you're kind of relying on Kog'Maw messing up rather than executing your own comp really well. So I
Very
think
true.
that being a little bit more proactive about that would be better. And getting into this late game, I think Hornets is going to have a really tough time. They don't have the damage, they don't have the front line that Stallions really do, and it's just going to be tough if they are not really ahead getting into this mid-late game.
I mean, maybe that's what they're banking on. Maybe they're banking on that early game because they have some really good early game champs from the Renekton, and even I would even call Ari an early game champ, but I feel like Ari and Syndra kind of go even until we get to that mid game. But Renekton for sure is definitely
Yeah,
an early game.
Renekton's good mid game. Milio with those double shields, very good early game. If Ezreal can hit a bunch of Qs and keep that attack speed stacked up, he is definitely going to be good against Kog'Maw early game, but we will see how these matchups stack up once we get into this first game. It is definitely going to be an interesting one. I forgot if we mentioned this already, but it will be a best of 5 series.
Best
So,
of 5.
yep.
Okay, okay, VRD fans. I hope you're ready to see a blood vessel of mine just snap in the middle of Game 4.
Yeah, for sure. We are hoping that this series is a well fought battle between these teams. We're hoping Hornet has learned from their past matches and is going to bring us an exciting set of games for today. Now, before we get into our break, before we go into this game, we just want to talk really quickly about our partner Pro Comps for this season. Pro Comps is a powerful drafting tool for League of Legends to provide a competitive edge before the game starts. You may remember many times when you lost the game during Champ Select, and Pro Comps comes up with a great product to help you improve your drafting skills. With Pro Comps, you can find the best champions to play at any point during the draft for any role, review your team's strengths and weaknesses, and get other crucial insights regarding team compositions. After the draft, you can check the summary page ProComps provides and see what lanes you should focus on in the early game and understand objectives and priorities. ProComps even is integrated into ProDraft so you can easily use it during your scrims. It is 100% free, so be sure to check out ProComps today. Before we get into our break, Hyper, do you have anything else to add before we get into this match?
I feel a little underprepared. You had a whole sponsorship spiel coming out, and I'm just sitting here thinking maybe I should get this pro drafts because that sounds really that sounds really cool.
Yeah, for sure. Could have helped out both of these teams here draft to their strengths and understand how to play this game. But now let's get into a short delay before we start this game. Welcome back, everyone. We are here on the Rift. Both teams headed out to their respective sides. It looks like both teams are just kind of going to do a traditional 5-point here. Do you have anything else to say before contact?
I mean, contact right here. We got Iconic going in right on the mollywop. Ari has to force that flash right over the top of that wall. Really good early game for that mid laner. You know, forcing that flash early is like super good in those early levels.
Yeah, for sure. Getting that flash off of Ari before she has 6 to get those dashes is going to be very important, right? Udyr is going to be able to run in and stun her without Ari being able to do much in return. It looks like we also have contact here in the top lane, but it looks like it is just going to be a short little trade.
Yeah, you know, Renekton over there, you know, hey, how dare you bully my Ari? So he just stuns up Alawi and walks away with it. I mean, you don't lose anything. I mean, you get lane prio.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like looks like Ezreal and Milio are going to be sitting in Tribush, trying to get a little poke down onto this Karma and Kog'Maw as they walk back into lane. I do think that the better level 1 goes over to the side of Stallions, just because Karma level 1 with Mantra Q is really good, but getting a little bit of poke and then backing off could be good.
Oh, hey, just like you said, that Mantra Q coming out, but here comes Kog'Maw laying down the artillery, walking down Ezreal. Already half health before he can even hit a single minion.
Yep, and that is exactly what we're talking about, right? That Mantra Q is going to be really devastating early on when it comes to trades. Both bot laners trading a little bit. It looks like Echo is going to head straight to blue buff from red, looking for this early gank on bot side. I think this is a pretty good play, right? Trying to get this Kog'Maw down early before he scales and becomes this late game beast is going to be very important. And I like to see Echo playing for that.
There's that early game powerhouse of Renekton right there. Alawi already 3/4 health.
Yeah, for sure. Renekton is that super strong early game character, and this is exactly what you want to see if you are on the side of Hornets, right? You want these early game advantages because you know you're going to get outscaled late. So it's nice to see that. It looks like Echo is just going to kill Gromp and then head towards bot side Crab or for a bot lane gank.
Ooh, there's top lane duking it out again. Man, Renekton's getting these really good trades in, using that stun and that dash very well.
For sure, but it looks like Echo does have a dash over the back of this pit, and Kog'Maw Karma will not see this gank coming on their ward. Echo is going to be coming in from behind, it looks like here soon. Yep, there he goes.
There he goes. Here comes down the pings. He's going to come right there with the wave. Going to get that speed up from that Karma, but he's going to jump right into the... Oh, forcing the flash right out of Karma. The Ignite ticking down. Echo's forced to get out of the way. That Mantra Q slowing up the Milio, doing a lot of damage from the Kog'Maw, just laying down the artillery bombs. Echo jumps back in. He gets dash, but the heals pop from... Oh, on the other side of the map, another gank. We have 2 fights breaking out, 2 fronts, but it doesn't matter because here comes Giveaway. He's got Kog'Maw. Oh, that's Karma locked and loaded. First blood goes over to Ezreal. You know I am tripping up if I can't even get the champs right for the first blood.
Yeah, for sure. That was definitely a lot of cross-map action going on right there. The flash is going to come out from Renekton. Alawi still has that flash. Renekton has to flash out. So it is kind of what you want to see if you're Alawi, right? You're getting a break from this bullying. You're able to farm. You're able to push this wave in. Maybe able to get a little bit of tower damage down, right? And on this bot side, you are going to see all sums come out for the side of Stallions, right? Kog'Maw and Karma are going to have nothing. So we are going to see if Echo decides to regank bot or what his strategy is there. Milio still has the flash and Ezreal still has the exhaust, so I do think that Hornets bot lane are in a pretty good state right now to fight and take control of the lane, and that's exactly what you want if you are on this earlier game team.
Oh, in 100%. Ezreal with that first blood, but it doesn't matter because Lizzo just an amazing play with that stun right there, chunking out the Ahri. But what I was going to say before I was rudely interrupted, already picking up that tier and a Ruby Crystal, which normally I wouldn't opt for, but into this Karma lane, I think it's a really, really great idea.
Yeah, for sure. That item is pretty good in this situation, and even though the first blood went over to the side of Hornets, we are going to see the gold difference be about the same, right? You're 15 gold up on the 15 CS up on the Kog'Maw. You are up 10 CS on the Udyr. So we are still going to see the gold pretty even at this point.
Oh, there it is again. Renekton going right in on top of Malawi. She is going to get that soul, and it's going to provide a little extra damage, but it doesn't matter because Metro Dragnail is just walking right into the turret, but he's taking so many shots from that tentacle, he's going to have to start sidestepping these because when you get slapped by the crab, realistically, you get slapped by the tentacle. Oh, really good diving. Gets the stun and the Q for the kill. Hornets go up 2-0.
Yep, for sure. And looking at this game right now, we might have been a little bit too critical on the Hornets on the analyst desk at the start of this game because they are playing this early game very well. No ward in the river bush for the side of Stallions, and will they fall for the bait? Echo is going in.
Does get the stun. Kog'Maw drops down immediately, but here comes the Ghost looking to do a little extra damage. It does not matter. You do not get the CS. Do not pass go. Go straight to the fountain.
For sure, and that solidifies the gold lead at about a full 1,000 gold over to the side of the Hornets. Karma is getting looked at by Echo, and it doesn't look like anything is really going to happen here in the bot lane. Maybe once this wave gets shoved in, they look for a dive, but it doesn't look like they are going to go for anything. I think Hornets could try to go for a Drake here, but obviously you still have the bot side coming back for the side of Stallions, as well as the jungler and the mid-wave prio, so it could be a little bit of a coin flip if they are going to stick on this Drake.
It's going to be a 4v3 right here over the drag. I don't know if this is the fight they want to take, but here it comes. The drag is taken by the red team. What a nice scatter that we coming out from Lizzo, but it does not matter. Wally Walks is going to dash right in, and it is now a 4v4. Top laners are duking it out. Metro Dragnail's got that stun, but here comes the ult from the Alawi, and the Alawi takes out the Spirit, and she flashes in for the kill. One kill over two. The side of the Stallions, and the fight in the river just de-escalates. They get a dragon, but the Stallions take the top laner.
For sure, and that is what you want to see over on the side of Stallions, right? You're losing this Drake, but you're trading back over on the top side. In many parts, thanks to Slapped by Crab, right? It's just a straight up top lane 1v1, so knowing that they can push those boundaries and win that 1v1 is going to help even out the gold lead a little bit for this team. And she gets 2 plates as well from that kill, making the gold lead even once again, despite the 1,000 gold lead previously in the pockets of the Hornets.
Yeah, no, gold is dead even now with that kill from the top side. You know, really great play from Alawi. I mean, Slapped by Crab, he had to teach he had to teach the Renekton a really harsh lesson and just bring the idol down on top of his head. He was getting too cocky there, diving her under tower, so she had to remind him, hey, I can do it too.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be really hard to regain control if you're Renekton, right? Alawi doesn't have Ignite, so losing that 1v1 early when you do bring Ignite is going to be pretty bad for the lane, but Echo is topside, so we'll see if Echo is going to come over and help his Renekton out over in the top side. Syndra is taking a base right now, and the bot lane for the Hornets is going to get shoved in. Ahri just kind of farming this mid wave, and I think
Echo is going to be going for it. They'll stand Luns on the Renekton. Stasis Spirit does not land. The slow does not come through, but that PTA has proc. He does got the attack speed. The stun coming out. Alawi's just going to walk at him, but here comes Iconic from upside the river. Dragnail gets stunned. Dragnail gets taken out. Iconic is a man. He is a legend. That is a top laners. That is a 1-for-1. The jungle is going to duke it down out here in the top lane. The stun coming through, and so does the death and the double kill. Stallions are making a comeback in the top lane. 2-for-1.
Yep, and that is going to be a huge 2-for-1 trade over for the side of the Stallions. And if you notice, even though they're down in kills, right, and down a Drake, Stallions are going to be up in gold. So this is going to be a very good position with their Syndra and with their Kog'Maw for this late game. We do see a little bit of trading going on in the mid lane, but it doesn't look like any kills are going to come out of it.
Wow, I mean, that trade that Lizzo just put onto Mollywops was really good. She just sectioned her right off from the tower. Ari could not retreat into her tower the way she wanted to, and just chunked her for half her health. It was a really, really good burst.
Yeah, for sure, a really good burst indeed, and Echo is clearing down towards this bot side.
That Test of Spirit is just going to keep landing on Dragneel left and right. It does not matter. No matter how many times he goes in, slapped by Crab, just it keeps on landing it. And it's about 80% whether he lands it or not. There it is again. Another Test of Spirit comes down, and that Spirit is getting really low health. He's forced to dive in. He's trying to get that stun, trying to keep his Spirit up just a little bit longer, but it does not matter. It goes down. Oh, this wave is getting really big too. I think she just dives in.
Definitely it could happen, but Alawi is looking a little bit low, so it might be kind of risky to go for this dive. Ari is also rotating up to get vision on this Herald. He does see the Udyr starting Herald, but I'm not sure if they're going to be able to do anything about this when Alawi is in such a dominant position in the top lane. Right, Rift Herald going over to the side of Stallions.
Yeah, they pick up that, they watch it, they pick up that Herald. Oh, really nice. Gotta get that. But, like I was saying, they break, but they did pick up that, Herald. So, we're gonna drop it.
If I am Stallions, personally, I want to see if I can get some kills bot lane and then drop it there, get a lot of that gold on Kog'Maw from those tower plates before the 14-minute mark. But I do think also top lane is a really good idea because you're completely destroying the top tower, right? You're cracking it open at 11 minutes, which allows your Alawi to move around the map a little bit more and exert more pressure when she's already ahead.
Here comes the Echo coming up on that bottom side of the tower. He spotted if he tries to go for this game. With that warden push.
Yeah, for sure, and it looks like Echo knows that he is on vision. Alawi playing safe, maybe try to cancel the back, but it's not in time. Echo is going to get back to base, and the bot lane for Hornets is resetting. Both teams probably going to try to play for this dragon, but I do think that the side of Stallions are a little bit more prepared when it comes to being in position on time for this Drake, and it looks like Udyr might just start this up.
Yeah, he's going to start it up. I would have thought he would have dropped the Herald, assuring himself some priority over that Drake. But he's just going to start it up. Wander will do his best to try to throw this jungler off from that choke point. But here goes, look at Lizzo right there, the top side of the river. He's going to get topped up. I don't know if you need to be there, guys. I think it's time we get out of here. But you got right up the top of that side. Scattered the weak. Lizzo's gonna throw a lot of damage on her. The jump is gonna land, and they just chase Milo right into their base. Wow.
Yeah, for sure. An explosive fight. The Stallions play that very well, but we're not done yet. It looks like the ADC for the side of Stallions wanted a little bit more there, but Milio is going to get out with no summoner spells left. Ari is going to see Syndra in the river here. Syndra is going to blow Flash. I don't know if we saw that on the camera, but Syndra is going to lose Flash right there, putting her in a little bit of a weird position, not really able to walk back into lane very safely against this pretty healthy Ari, but Ari is going to be low on mana, so it looks like she is going to walk away.
Yeah, and I don't know if Ari was trying to... I'm going to go back to my thought. Because it looked like Renekton was going to go all in right there. I mean, he's thinking about it. He was thinking about it. I got to give it to him.
He was for sure thinking about it. Right, we see Milio coming over back into this bot lane. We do have a level advantage over to the ADC for the side of Stallions, right? You've level 8 versus level 7, but Karma is a level down and a little bit unhealthy, so I don't think it would be very good for Stallions to trade right here. Renekton is going to do a little bit of trading.
Oh, I don't think that was a really good trade. He's going to get chunked out. There comes the flash and the harsh lesson to dive in Alawi when you're that low health is well learned. Slapped by Craft picks up another kill on Renekton. Another win on the 1v1.
Yep, for sure. That is a huge, huge win in the 1v1. Right, Renekton is this early game powerhouse, so being 1-3 this early into the game and being so far behind is gonna be really painful. If we look at the gold difference really quick, Renekton a total of 4,800 gold, Alawi with a total of 4,200, so more than 1,000, like 1,500 gold in favor of the side of this Alawi. She is going to be very difficult to deal with in these team fights, and I'm interested to see how Hornets are going to respond to this as a team to try to get back into this game.
Well, I mean, what they need to do is they got to try to get Mollywops a little bit ahead of the Syndra, because as soon as Ahri starts to pull away from her, she become more of a problem, and Echo and her can start assassinating the way they're thinking about doing right now. A nice flash out of the tower, but the ult coming out from the Echo to save his health bar. They are going to just pop the Syndra, if you would.
Yeah, for sure. A couple abilities on this Ahri going flying. Udyr is running in.
Does not matter. Iconic saw the death in the mid lane, did not like it. Stun up going on to Mollywop, and he said, I'm a Mollywop you to the fountain. A nice trade over to the jungler.
For sure, a nice trade for Iconic, right? Ahri no longer has flash here, but not going to be a huge deal because of this ultimate. Udyr is going to be looking to go on Echo with no ult on this mid tower, but Renekton and Milio are behind.
Team Dragneil's gonna jump right onto Wander. He's gonna get stunned. Airborne. He is getting really low in the mid lane. Metro picks up one. Iconic manages to escape through the blue side jungle of the Hornets. Wow.
For sure, really good flank angle on the side of this Renekton for Hornets to get onto this Karma. It looks like we are not done trading in this mid lane.
We are not. Iconic didn't like the way that turned out, so he decided to come back for a little bit more.
For sure, he decided he was not done with the Hornets, and now it looks like they're just going back to farming. Renekton and Milio headed toward this top side, maybe looking for a flank angle on the Alawi, but I think Alawi's in a position where he can just kind of walk out. If you take a look at the vision right now, both teams a little bit lacking on the vision, but I do think Stallions pull a little bit ahead. Milio not noticing this Kog'Maw running in, but is going to be able to slip out to mid lane. You see 5 members mid.
I know, Giggle almost got caught up right there too. If it wasn't for that arcane shift, he gets jumped on by 2 members of the team coming down from the red side.
For sure, we are going to see all these members mid lane for the side of the Stallions, getting a good trade, taking half the HP off of that Ezreal with Alawi.
This flank that they have set up right here with this Echo, I don't know if it's going to pay off. He's going to blast cone her right back. The charm going on to that Kog'Maw. They are going to delete him. He's forced to flash over the wall, but so does Ahri. Ults right over, but that ultimate coming out from the Alawi was so strong, but just not enough. She falls as well. Drag spawning in 3 seconds. This is the fight that they want. I'm going to get a lot of chunk right there. The charm coming out onto Iconic. Lizzo's forced out of the river right there. Should be forced out of the river. Her health bar looking drastically low, but so do a couple other members from the side of Hornets. They are just trying to push Stallions out of this dragon pit at the moment. They might be able to pull it off. It looks like they did, or not. Iconic, he just does not like giving up objectives. He's forced off of something and he just comes right back. He drops that Herald, gives himself and his team a little bit of prio. But I don't know if he steals this. Pops the ghost. Supports the health bar's looking very low. Arcane Shift trying to get a little extra damage. His health bar's getting very low, but he's gonna pick up that support. It is now a 3v3. Full health Kog'Maw coming right back into the lane. Flash from the Ezreal. He goes out. So does the Echo. He dives over the wall. Now the Renekton is sandwiched by 4 members. The CC is too strong, and the damage is just too good. Milliwops is trying to get out of there. I don't know if he's gonna escape a full battle tank Kog'Maw. He's just raining artillery shells from the sky. Give it to the man, the myth, the legend. Oh.
And Kog'Maw is going to get a lot from that fight, right? Just constantly hitting these R's over on Ahri, and the Drake will go over to the side of Stallions, it looks like. Ezreal sending an ult down the mid lane, not really sure exactly why he did that, but the Dragon, like we said, is going to go over to the side of the Stallions. And we saw Hornets playing this early game so well, right? Getting this kill on Ezreal, getting this kill in the top lane, getting this kill on Echo, and now this game is completely flipped, right? Stallions with this late game team comp, up a Dragon, up 4,000 gold, up 3 towers actually. And it's really, really oppressive if you're on the side of Hornets, because you're thinking, we're this early game team, we should be winning right now. And when you're down that much pressure against Stallions, it's going to be really hard to come back.
I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's at this point, I'm not going to use the term turtle because that's not the correct word that I want to use, but you got to be taking the objectives where you can get them, and not just the big neutral objectives. I mean, taking these towers as well. You know, get it where you can. This top lane, they have yet to drop a turret this game. So, you know, we see that they are all over that Drake. You know, if the roles were reversed, you know, they're fighting for this vision right here. Oh wait, I'm just kidding. I am also colorblind, it looks like. I don't know. Stallions are just gonna go for that early Baron. Why not?
And it does look like Hornets do have some suspicion that the Stallions are over on Baron. It looks like they are looking around pit, seeing if they can turn this, but we will see if anything is going to happen here. And it looks like Stallions just back off of this Baron, all going down, almost dropping Milio. And it looks like both teams are going to walk away with no kills.
I mean, that was really close. Lizzo's starting to hit like a truck now. That ultimate coming out from her just absolutely was powerful. If not for the shield of Milo, I don't think he lives through that. Slap by Crab is just going to force Milliwap off of that tower. Trying his best to defend it. Are we going to have a fight here in the red jungle? That's the question. We have two battle fronts right now. Scatter the weak right into the jungler. He's going to have to ult to get a little bit of extra health back. Flash from Wanderer. Flash is going to be enough. Syndra takes out the Echo, but the Renekton and the Udyr back off from their little fist fight that they were having. Iconic coming out with that with a health advantage.
For sure, that health advantage is going to be very important, and this Baron is started back up again. You do have Ahri rotating over before this Alawi, but Alawi does have TP and a nice ward there to come in on if needed. It looks like the advantage here is going to go over to the side of Stallions, but their health bars are getting low. Alawi is forced to TP here, and this is going to be an interesting Baron. They are not taking it very quickly.
They're not taking it quickly, but I think it's intentional, because there it goes. Absolutely obliterated, almost like Milliwap's health bar. Wow.
For sure, Mollywops does get out by the skin of her teeth, living with just a little bit of health, and the Baron does go over to the side of the Stallions. And with this late game team comp and a 7k gold lead, it is going to be really difficult for the Hornets to find any way back into this game. Like you mentioned earlier, you want to kind of just turtle up or take what you can get at this point, but that's tough to do, right? Because you're playing this weaker late game team, so it's kind of like we can't just turtle, because then the other team is going to scale up and be stronger than us in the late game, and we're just going to lose. So they have to try to look for these plays in the side lane and try to look for isolated members of the Stallions team, but that is easier said than done when the only isolated member of the team is usually this Alawi, who is so strong right now.
I mean, you said it, Alawi being the only isolated member, but we have looks like a little fight going to break out here in the blue side of the jungle. Looking for that stun onto Udyr. They're fighting for that Gromp. Don't know if that's the objective you want to fight for. 5v4 now, right here in the blue side. They're in a nice little choke point for that Scatter the Weak, but it does not turn into any deaths, just a lot of trading and a lot of back and forth.
For sure, no deaths coming out here, but the prio for this area and the vision control is in favor of the Hornets. Echo going to roll out, nothing going to happen there. But if you look at this bot side of the map and you look at all of this blue vision and this Drake coming up, right, the Stallions are in a really good position to just choke out the side of Hornets and just have complete control over this Drake. It looks like they're going for a dive with Udyr walking behind but he is spotted out by Echo.
Coming out from the Ari. They're going to be looking for Wander. Wander is the target, but they do not get it. Kog'Maw takes out the Ari. Iconic find 2 members alone in that choke point. Warner's health bar getting very low. So is the support from the side of Hornets. But Ezreal's trying his best. He's going to have to flash away from that Udyr. He is tanky. He is healing. He is doing damage. But here comes that Renekton trying to dive in right onto Lizzo. They turn their attention right onto that Udyr. He's getting so much shielding and so much health. A shutdown going over to the Ezreal. Very nice. Well done. But now they have a bigger problem in that top lane. That tower has fallen, and the inhibitor looks like it is going to go next.
For sure, and it looks like they are going to go in on this Alawi here, but with her ult, let's see if anything comes of this.
I do not know. That is a lot of chain CC coming out, but Alawi does pick up one before she goes down.
Yeah, and you will absolutely take those trades if you are over on the side of the Stallions, right? Alawi did not have a shutdown there, and they're just kind of going to get a Drake for free because of all the members over on the top side of the map over for Hornets. If you look at the gold distribution right now, we see the bot lane for the side of Stallions up about 1,500 gold. You see the mid lane up about 2,000 gold, the jungler up 2,000 gold, and the top lane up about 2,000 gold, totaling about 8,000 gold in the favor of the Stallions. So this is just kind of a staggering gold lead. And do you think there's any way that the Hornets can bring this game back?
I mean, I do, and I think it was with the way they just played it earlier. Ezreal got a massive shutdown onto Udyr, and he was able to finish the item for Muramana. And now he's working on his next. I don't know what he's going to be building with the 2 long swords, but he's now working on that next item. As soon as he can get that 3rd item, Ezreal becomes a monster. He's going to be able to just his cooldowns are going to be a lot lower, and those Qs are going to be coming out a lot faster and faster, which is going to be really paying off when he's looking down the throat of the wall that has become the Stallions' front line.
Yeah, for sure, and those items are going to be really important. We could see a Cyrilda's coming out from Ezreal to get through this Alawi and get through this Udyr a little bit easier. We do have a little bit of a fight coming out, but it doesn't look like anything is going to come out from it, with Milio just kickballing this Udyr away.
I mean, we talked about this Karma in the late game, and Wander is just, I gotta tip my hat where my words due, because he is providing so much support for his team with those shields coming out. But a nice airborne going onto that Alawi. The Tested Spirit is going to land. Slapback Raid's going to flash in for that ult. A lot of damage coming down onto a lot of members, but they're going to be able to pick her off. That is one key member down. But Iconic is going to be coming in. Jumps right onto Ezreal. Gets the stun, but it's going to get kickball right back. But here comes the dive from the Echo. He is going to get targeted. He's going to be taken out. And Dragneil jumps in onto the jungler. Pops that ult, but it is not going to be enough. Kog'Maw manages to pick up a double kill. Jungler picks up the top laner, and this might be the end of the game right here.
For sure, it definitely could be. They do have to use this top wave to get into the Nexus turrets if they want to think about ending the game, and it looks like that is what they're going to do, maybe after getting this mid lane tower. We do see Ezreal picking up that lure, the last whisper, so it does look like he is going to go into armor pen to fight this Udyr and this Alawi. It doesn't really look like the side of Stallions are committing to this end. Oh, but we do see a TP coming in from Alawi, so they are going to try to end the game right here.
I don't think that they have enough damage or enough members to fight this end game off. Udyr takes out the turret. The jungler is going to have to pop his ult just to stay alive. Here comes that jungler, though, and that shielding from the Karma is just too strong, and I do not think Hornets have enough in the gas tank. That Nexus turret has got so much health left. Lizzo picks up one. They are fighting in the mouth of the Nexus turret. Alawi gets a double kill, and they are just bullying the Hornets at this point. I thought this was a friendly environment, but you just saw cyberbullying at its best. Game 1 over to the Stallions.
Yep, as you said, game 1 is going to go over to the Stallions. as we predicted going into game two, I would like to see a little bit more of a traditional team comp coming out from the side of the Hornets, right? So having a solid front line, having a scaling ADC, and having a CC focused mid laner. So we will see how they make adjustments to this draft going into game two. Early game, there were definitely opportunities for the Hornets to take the lead, and just taking this gold advantage from their first blood, from their Echo getting kills, and making sure that their Renekton wins top early is going to be very, very important going into this second game. I think if you are Hornets, you kind of want to have a mentality, guys, we had good leads going in game one. Let's not let this loss get us down. We can beat these guys, and we just have to play a little bit more principled.
No, you're absolutely right. I don't think Hornets played bad at any point in that game. They just weren't able to keep up with the tempo that Stallions was laying down. And true to their name, Stallions, as soon as they break free, they they go for distance. They go long, and it's really hard to stop them. And that's exactly what they did right here. As soon as they were able to break through that, 10, 12-minute mark, it was just a slow snowball, just rolling to victory. They didn't force it at any point. I personally would have liked to see them give that dragon once they lost Prio in the river. But with that being said, they definitely came back, won the team fight and the dragon at the same time. So what the hell do I know?
Yeah, for sure. And that is going to be it for game one of the VRD semifinals, best of five, Stallions versus Hornets. Now we are going to go into a short break before we get into the draft for game two. All right, welcome back to game number 2 for the VRD semifinals for the Hornets versus the Stallions. Stallions did take game 1 with a commanding 1-0 lead, but we are going to jump right into the draft here for game 2. We see the Hornets ban away the Udyr and pick the Vi for themselves. This is a very, very good pick right now, right? We know Vi is very strong in the jungle right now. That ult is very scary if you're an ADC main. I know that for sure. And
I
taking
know that
away,
for sure.
yeah, and taking away that Udyr from the side of Stallions is going to be big. But we do see the Zac locked in return, which I know that the jungler for the Stallions, Iconic, is also comfortable with.
um, I'm gonna argue your point. This man is not comfortable with Zach. This man just plays Zach and makes other people uncomfortable. Um, if you see like his stats on Zach, it's kind of gross. You know, 21 games, he's got a 57% win rate with Zach. That's
I mean,
that's pretty
yeah,
good.
that's pretty good. And we do see the Milio get locked in over for the side of the Stallions. If you are Hornets right now, I think you want Jinx. I think you want Aphelios, right? You want to deny that from the Milio because these are some pretty broken duos. I think giving the Jinx over to the side of Stallions is not really an option you want to consider, but I think picking up the Jinx and maybe Lulu would be a good option here. We do see Darius locked in blind for the top lane, which is a little bit of an interesting choice. Usually counter pick is pretty important for the top lane. So picking the Darius this early in the draft when the enemy support and jungle are showing is a little bit weird, but I do expect to see an ADC or support pick locked in here in response to this Milio.
I really hope it's an ADC pick here because if you lock that support in, yes, you get the counter pick, but we could also lock in a flex pick though.
And they pick Ziggs over for the side of Hornets. Could be mid, could be ADC, but I do expect Stallions to pick up either the Jinx or the Aphelios. That would be the most standard. Jinx Milio, insanely broken lane duo right now. It's even better than Jinx Lulu. So, I would expect that to be the pick unless the ADC for the Stallions isn't very comfortable with Jinx, but let's see what they lock in here. And it's going to be Annie, which is also a very interesting choice. I expect this Annie to go into the mid lane, but we don't know if the Ziggs is mid lane yet, so it's a bit of an interesting draft decision coming out from both sides here.
I mean, on the side of the Hornets, I think picking up the Jinx, or at least a counter to Jinx, would have been the play. Rather they opt for the flex pick. Um, I don't know which 4D chess that they're playing, but apparently I'm not equipped to play such intelligent games because I'm lost on this one.
Yeah,
Um,
I am also lost on this one. Little bit of a confusing decision here. We are going to see the Kog'Maw band on the side of Hornets. They do not want to play against this Kog'Maw again with a Milio for the range extension on their side. There is no Jinx ban from the side of the Stallions, right? But the pick here is going to go over to Stallions. So I think if you are Hornets here, you need to ban out this Jinx, or they will just take it for this fourth pick slot, right?
uh, I mean, yeah, but I don't think Jinx would be the play into with the Zac and the Annie. I think the Aphelios actually would be the better champion into those two because of his just arsenal of weapons that he brings with that ultimate being crescendo. I think. If
Yeah,
I'm not,
I'm and we do see the
they
Jinx
go for
locked
the
in
Jinx. They
here.
do go for the Jinx.
Right, and that is the standard pick we've been seeing in MSI and in pro play with that Milio, right? The Q range that Jinx has late game with the Q maxed out, plus the additional percent range that Milio gives on his W is going to make this Jinx just an absolute monster, shooting rockets from 1200 range away in this late game, completely safe from any counter engages. You do have the solid front line in the Zac, and their Hornets are going to counter again with that Ezreal. I don't know how well it worked out for them last game, and I do think he's going to have a hard time breaking through this Zac, but we will see what they are going to pair it with for the support role.
But again, Ezreal still kind of a flex pick if you think about it. Ezreal could go in the mid lane and just run, a first strike or dark harvest build. Um, So
Definitely possible for it
it's
to be a flex pick here. And we see Alessandra locked
so
in.
Lysandra
Um,
locked in.
Little bit of
Okay.
an interesting draft situation coming out here from the side of the Hornets. I'm predicting a Ziggs Ezreal bot situation here with maybe Alessandra in the mid lane, and we see Pantheon locked in for the top lane over for the sides of Stallions, and that is going to finish up our draft. Now, what are your thoughts so far on this draft?
So Hornets are doing a little something different with their draft. They're making me question if I know how to play the game or not. And if I get paid the money that I get paid because I'm an analyst, I would say that this is actually an Ezreal Lissandra lane. As
Definitely, it could be an
with
Ezreal
Lissandra
Lissandra lane.
I see an Ezreal Lissandra lane. You put Ziggs up against the Annie, and that lane kind of just nullifies itself. Annie not really doing much in terms of threatening Ziggs. Ziggs, poking Annie out of lane, trying to get mid lane prio, which is really great for Vi to be able to bounce from both sides of the map. But Ezreal with his arcane shift and Lissandra with her claws of death, it it kind of sets up really nice ganks for Vi when she does decide to visit that bot lane. So I honestly see an Ezreal Lissandra lane coming out here.
For sure, that is definitely a possibility. I am personally going to take the side of Stallions for this draft right here. Very principled. You have Zach Pantheon for the front line, you have Annie mid for the AP damage and safety early game, and you have this Milio Jinx bot lane, currently probably the best performing bot lane in the entire game across all ranks at the moment because of how good their synergy is. And I'm a little bit concerned picking this Lissandra into Jinx because, as we know, Milio ult is just a giant cleanse, so he's kind of going to be able to nullify whatever Lissandra can do on those engages late game. And I also expect Jinx to either take Ghost or Cleanse here, making it really, really hard for anyone on Hornets to get on top of her other than a Q flash ulting Vi. And I think in general, these big team fighting comps that Stallion favors, and that is shown in the first game and here with the second game draft, are much easier to execute than these pick style comps that play for the early game that the Hornets have been going for.
Well, I was wrong. Lissandra is going to get slotted into that mid lane, leaving Ezreal and Ziggs down there in the bot lane. Um, I don't know how I feel about this. I'm gonna be honest.
A little bit of an unconventional pick there. Ziggs support is going to be locked in. That is about what I expected, but I'm not really sure what the idea is with the Ziggs support, right? You have a little bit of poke, but it's worse than other supports like Lux or Xerath that want to go poke, and you definitely do have a little bit of CC, although not much from your satchel charge. Maybe they just want to send Ziggs around the map, blowing up towers with those empowered autos and satchels, but we will see what they decide to do as we go into the second game.
I mean, yeah. That's the utility you get out of Ziggs really comes through when he's able to CS and put gold in his pocket. So when you stick him on a support role, yes, he can generate gold with that support item. This is true, but then where does his extra utility? Because he does a lot of utility. He does a lot of damage at that. With his ultimate, with those satchel charges, just lobbing bombs left and right. He does become very annoying, but I feel like he would be better suited in a more damage heavy role, such as the mid lane. Whereas Lissandra, I think she can get away with one or two items and still be a problem that Lissandra is
For
if
sure,
she
Lissandra,
was
yeah,
slotted in the support role.
yeah, she is still going to have that CC, right? She's going to have her ultimate. She's going to have her claw. She's going to have her root. She's going to be very useful with that CC, even with not a lot of items. Ziggs, on the other hand, doesn't really have that. He's more item dependent, and being in this support role where you get a lot less gold income than all the other roles is going to be tough on that Ziggs, and I think they're going to have a little bit of a hard time unless Vi spends a lot of her time down in bot lane making sure this Jinx and Milio just stay as far behind and don't get